Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of Factorio Bob's Angels, episode 54. So we start the episode off with getting quite a bit of science done. I have got some of the older sciences queued up. I went through and had a look because we were queued up to a load of robot worker speed and capacity, cargo capacity, but I noticed there are a few things I want to get done. So this episode, we are rebuilding the logistics construction area bit because it's just got too messy and I'm not happy with it, and it should look nice and tidy really. So I get plenty of science queued up because we're going to be doing quite a lot this episode. So we want to move all of these things around. So we start off by getting the gem sorting area shifted up and out of the way so we get a nice clear area. We're going to leave that little random processing bit just on the left of me there because we can add a few more things to it. So I may sound a little bit groggy, a little bit tired in today's episode. I am recording this quite early due to time constraints, and the video footage was actually recorded quite late last night. I got a bit carried away, so the footage is in 4x speed because I ended up recording about an hour and a half, but a good half of the episode is just sorting out this logistics area, so it's fairly clear what I'm doing, but it's nice to get it at 4x speed. I was going to do the logistics reconstruction bit at maybe 5 or 6x speed and then slow the rest of the episode down, but I just kind of decided just to do the whole thing at a compromise of 4x speed because it's just a general sort of upgrade video. We're upgrading various things. For example, we finally get the rest of the belts for the iron processing all the way down to smelting, so that should start bringing a lot more iron plates through. So we start laying out these substations for the sorting area. I'm now able to make the Mark IV substations the final one, so we get the best use of the area. And these ones are the ones that line up quite nicely with the layout I'm going to use for the logistics area. You can fit them in quite nicely, and I think the beacons also fit in fairly nicely. So we get a beacon squared in there for the piercing ammunition production, and we finally get some raw productivity modules in the random processing area. I did try and put them in for the piercing ammo, but they don't class as an intermediary ingredient. I'm still tempted to go and disable that, but yeah, I don't know. I still haven't done it, and like I said before, I kind of already have it in the game, so you know, why go and change it? I can't really decide. So we start off with the assembly production. I kind of have a blueprint going for this whole layout. I couldn't decide between the two methods that I know of making sure things in the logistics system are used first and then things are produced when they needed it. But the way I'm doing it is I'm putting a logistics condition on the output inserter, so only output if there's less than the product of this assembler in the logistics system. So that kind of means that stuff in the logistics system gets used, but it's kind of prohibited by the amount of time it takes logistics robot to bring that item. So if they take the item out of the logistics system, it's then going to place it into the provider, and a bot could then come and bring it from that provider to the next requester rather than taking it out of the logistics storage area, which is quite far away from here. The other way of doing it is to take a circuit wire from the output inserter of the previous product and say only output into the passive provider if there are none in the requester chest of the next stage, which is a bit more reliable. It guarantees that everything in the logistics system will be used first. And to be honest, now I've slept on it and it's a day later, I'm kind of wishing I went for the for the circuit wire condition, because it looks at the requester chest and it's more guaranteed to be using stuff out of the logistics system. It's just once you have used everything in the logistics system, it places an item in the passive provider and then a bot will come and take that up to the next level of requester, which used to be a problem, but actually looking at my layout, that's what I'm relying on. We're getting the bots to take everything up to the next stage anyway, because also in this episode we are upgrading to Mark IV logistics robot and construction robot. So yeah, that's just that's just reinforced my decision to want to go for the circuit wire method now and not the logistics method. But I guess they both kind of work, they just have slight differences. But if anyone's done any more sort of testing on this, maybe they could reinforce my original idea, then I won't have to go and change it. But yeah, I do end up using this method for the whole area, so it would take me a while to change it, but if I do, I'll probably just go and do it in between a recording. So we start off adding into this area everything on the production tab of the inventory. We started off by adding assemblers, of course, because that's what we're going to be using the most. We also need to get inserters in, but I wanted to get the production tab done just because I'm a bit weird and fussy like that. I like things being done in a certain order, even though it has no relevance whatsoever in how the area is actually going to work. It's just nice and easy to find out where stuff are. The first column can be stuff in the productions tab, and then we can move on from there. So we've got chemical plants, electrolyzers, we've got the electronic furnace Mark 3 or Mark 4 or I think it's Mark 3, the multi-purpose furnace, which we can use for anything in the chemical plants or metal mixing plants now, and it'll allow us to add the maximum amount of modules. I've also got refineries in there. I don't even know why I added it now. I think I was just wanting to add absolutely everything in. We've got the electronic assemblers, and we finally get production of the final tier of solar and accumulators, because we really need to place more of those out. I've no longer been doing anything at all in between episodes, not even placing out solar and accumulators. So for the last few episodes, our capabilities of producing power have stayed the same. We haven't added any more. We get inserters in, but I didn't realize at the time I forgot to add stack inserters. So the express stack inserters use everything that's in the logistics system at the moment, but they do stop producing at a certain point, and I don't realize for a little while. But yeah, we have quite a few in the system from the previous area of both express stack inserters and stack inserters. So at some point they do stop producing, but as I'm talking right now, they are being produced at the moment. I could probably do with moving the logistics storage area closer to here. I have talked about that before, and I never actually got around to doing it, so it might be a good idea to move it, because it's probably going to help this area function a little bit quicker. But again, once the bots are upgraded, I mean, they look like they're going pretty fast at the moment at 4 times speed. But of course, these are the Mark II robots with only about half of the speed and cargo capacity upgrades. So yeah, I'm interested to see what the bots look like at 3-4 times speed once they're at Mark IV tier and with the full upgrade of speed. So that's going to be pretty interesting to see, I hope. While we were laying out this area, I did research the last tier of oil derricks, so we get that in. I think it's the Mark IV oil derrick. So at some point we can go around and get those placed to upgrade the oil areas, and we can also upgrade the modules in them as well, because now we can add the maximum number of modules in as well with the highest tier of oil derrick. So we start the arduous task of laying out the 4 tiers of bot production, because of course if we need to add any more than the number we already have, we're going to need all 4 tiers. So I might as well add in all levels of production, although I think we've got 4,000 of both logistic and construction bots in the system, so I don't know if we're ever going to need more than 4,000, because we never really come anywhere near to using the maximum number. But I add it in anyway just for the sake of it, because I don't want to lay out tier 3 and tier 4 production and then come a point where we actually need to add it in. But anyway, we get it all added. I get it tiered in a way that the modules fit, the beacons fit nicely in between the items needed to actually create the bots, and then just have that row separately on its own, just because it looks nice aesthetically and it's somewhere nice to put the beacons in. So we get production of that all laid out, again using the logistic condition on the output express stack inserter. I might as well just go full on for express stack inserter, because it's the fastest possible way of doing it. One of the products we need to produce these is ceramic bearings, so we get that all laid out. Starting to run out a bit of space on this sort of random production line, so I might rearrange it slightly, because there's things on there that are only there to get access to the lube. They don't necessarily need access to the ores or the metals on the belts. That was generally the idea for that area, but I've not really gone as full on with it as I have in the past. Usually there's a few more assemblers for each product, and there's more belts. But I never actually belted tungsten or nitinol, which would usually be on there and brought in by belt. But to save myself laying belts all the way along the Bob sub bus and all the way along the main bus, I've gone and done that with the logistics system, which seems to work fine, and it's saved me a lot of belts that need to be produced and then upgraded to green. And to be honest, I'm kind of tempted to do it with all the other metals, but there's no real point. That's all working okay. as long as I go and upgrade those belts. I also automate the production of all the robo ports, because I want to go around and upgrade those, and if I ever need a large number of them, it's just nice to have it done by the factory, because they do take a little while to be produced. And I finally find a layout that I'm happy with for the substations, medium and large electric poles as well. We just go around getting in the logistic system, the various products we need to produce those. I might, again, like I did with the electronic logic boards, change the way they're added into the system, but only if it ever causes a problem. So while we've been doing this, we've stockpiled nicely on green loaders and green belts. So I come and do the next part of upgrading the entire process for producing iron. So we got up to the crushers. We've got the input loaders for the crushers done, and we change our upgrade planner. We add a new tab actually just for loaders because I didn't have enough space on the belts bit, and we come and get that upgraded entirely to green. So this area should be able to produce pretty fast. I also need to make sure the filters are set on the output loaders as they're not carried across when they get upgraded, so to avoid any mess happening there. So we get that upgraded. These have already got speed beacons in, the combination sorters. I think I may have done that in between an episode, but yeah, they now finally run at full speed pretty much, so they're capable of producing a huge amount of iron, probably more than 4 green belts are able to produce, but we'll find out when it's been running for a bit. And we'll see if they're all managed to depleting themselves. One of the issues is the actual output from the iron buffer chest. So I run out of belt trying to get down to this area, but I realize I should use some of it to at least get the output of that buffer going quicker. There is quite a lot of iron in the buffer at the moment, but it would eventually run out. So we still need to get that belt down from the combo sorting area fully upgraded. But I take a quick look at what is slowing down the production of green belt, and it's the titanium bearings. It's just the belt input for the titanium just isn't fast enough. It's not bringing it in quick enough. It is mostly upgraded to red, but I probably need to go along and upgrade the whole thing to green. So yeah, there's an example right there of why getting the bots to do it is probably better, because as soon as the bots are upgraded, the input belt is essentially upgraded. You know, with the belt I have to go and manually upgrade the whole thing to green to speed it up, whereas once you have Mark IV bots, that's everything using bots upgraded. But yeah, enough about that anyway. So we get the gem sorting area all upgraded with the latest assemblers. To be honest, I don't really need to speed beacon that area. I may do right at the very end when we're using a hell of a lot of the diamonds, but we'll do it whenever we need to. So I start looking at setting up production of the silver oxide, which needs silver nitrate, which in turn needs nitrogen oxide. So we start getting that laid out. Again, I'm just going to add it to this area now. We've got a nice bit of space here for production of the final bits of Bob's stuff. And to be honest, with speed beacons in, and soon we'll get in the top tier of raw speed modules, yeah, this area will be able to produce extremely quickly, and it's nice and close for the bots to come and bring stuff in. So we get this area laid out. I'm not even looking at ratios for this, to be honest. I mean, if that really does become an issue at the speeds we'll be going at, then I can lay it out again. But this isn't really needed for endgame as far as I know, although stuff has been changed a little bit. But this is basically for the production for the silver zinc batteries. So it'll need the silver oxide, and we'll also need to set up production of the zinc plates, which we also do up here. I mean, it kind of all ties in nicely in that area. But yeah, I keep coming and checking what's needed for the bots, which is where the silver zinc batteries are going for the tier 4 logistics and construction robots. We also need some ceramic pipe for the production of the highest tier of electrolyzers, so I'll just come and add that in. Again, just checking various items to see whether they're working or not, and getting the different products added in. We also get the copper tungsten plate production added in here, because that's needed for the electrolyzers, the electronic furnaces, and the electronic multi-purpose furnace added in as well. And again, because it's not being used en masse, apart from when we're using a large number of those structures, it's one assemblers or one furnace is going to be enough, one multi-purpose furnace. But if I ever need to add more, I can always do so. We also add in finally the production of the silver zinc batteries, so that can start getting production of the bots going, or at least I think it may get it going. There might be some other products we need, but we get some of these top tier electrolyzers making the zinc plates themselves. I mess around with the layout a bit because it does need some sulfuric acid, which we have tons of now. We've got absolutely masses of sulfuric acid in barrels in various places. I'm not sure where my tab is for looking up stuff in the logistics system. I have looked in the past various times. There's usually a little green gem up there, and it allows you to look into your logistics system. Maybe I've not installed the right mod, or I have and there's something I need to build, or something's changed in it. I haven't really had a proper look at it. So yeah, I want to have a look at that so I can start looking up what's in the logistics system. I'm pretty sure I've got the right mods for it. I just don't know off the top of my head the exact mod that gives me it. I've got a feeling that it has changed and there's a structure you need to make now to interact with it. I don't know, that sounds a bit weird, but I did notice this episode something in my inventory I can craft that I've not seen before, and it is to do with the logistics system. So I'll go and have a look at that after I've finished editing this video. So again, we're just running around making sure everything's running. We want to get those tier 4 robots up in the air this episode, so I keep checking and making sure we've got all the products we need. We haven't actually got CPUs being added into the system, so I used my method of getting it into the logistics system nicely, still giving priority to the processing boards first. But yeah, once the products get up to those, they'll get added straight into the logistics chest. But they are a little bit short on the silicon or wafers, so we make sure that's upgraded to red as far back as we can. And I think I missed the input loader to the logistics bit there, so yeah, that'll need tidying up. We also need the boards that are used in the logic processing boards, so we get that added as well. Various things needed for the bots to get those produced. I end up with a lot of crap in my inventory this episode, so at various times I do go and have a sort. Some things you can shift click on. I think it's mostly the intermediary products, but things like structures you have to manually go and stick them to get the logistics robots to take them away. We also had production of the electron plate for the tier 3 medium solar panels, so we can start laying those out soon. I think I do lay some out at some point in the episode. We are now producing tier 4 logistics and construction robots. So I come and change the requester chests. I put an inserter back in place for the construction robots because that logistic condition on the RoboPort did keep switching off, but I've noticed since the last episode, or since the update where I lost my saves and everything, it doesn't seem to have happened. So hopefully we can rely on it now and it's not going to break and put absurd numbers of bots into the system. But we start requesting the tier 4s and getting those in. We've got a good 50 into the requester straight away, and it's not long until we have some in the passive providers as well. So I decide to start laying out the filter and active provider to take out any tier 2 logistics or construction robots. I think I add them to nearly every RoboPort. There may be one or two I miss where they're hiding, but I've literally got it as a blueprint, and I just go around adding them to absolutely every single RoboPort. Because I just want to get this swap over done nice and clean. It's one of the benefits of skipping from Mark II to Mark IV. There's a lot less of this tidying up the system. I know there's a mod that includes a chest that literally just pulls them out of the air, but it kind of seemed a bit weird to me. It just sort of just grabbed them from nowhere, and I didn't quite like it. And I've used this method in the past and it works, and it seems a bit more, not so much realistic, but it just seems to make a bit more sense. And we finally get the green belt down to the iron smelting area and finally see how much of that area can actually produce. I know I haven't got the right ratio of electronic furnaces. We're never going to be able to feed completely enough iron into there to feed the whole thing. I might be able to shoehorn in some extra belts down the side off the bus. But yeah, the ratios for this smelting area were never really correct. But to be honest, I've always liked the 16 down either side. I don't know why. I just have. You can just shoehorn it in extra belts and smelt an absurd amount of plates in such a small area. But we get that added in, and we just take a look to see how the area runs. To begin with, it does look like it's filling the whole thing, but a lot of these furnaces do have quite a lot of a buffer of plates in there, and once they all empty out, it does process a full green belt by like half of the row, I think, or even a third. I think it's the correct ratio of is it 12 down either side? I don't know, but we'll just see in time. But I continue to go around adding the filter inserter and active provider to tear out all of the Mark II logistics and construction robots. So we're finally at the max tier, and they're going to start moving around absurdly fast, which is fantastic. No longer waiting for things that are being requested. and bringing things over long distances will be a lot less noticeable. I'll still need to go around and add a load of extra charging pads where they're needed. So if they're on a regular path and they're getting halfway along it and they don't have anywhere nearby to recharge, that's generally where I work out where pads need to be added, and just generally all around the factory so they can recharge a lot quicker. Now we've got all the ceramic stuff being produced, we come in and add a load of raw productivity and speed beacons to things like titanium and the silicon nitride. I think that's what it's called. I'm not going to go and check it up on that one. But we get that nice and filled up. A lot of those belts do need upgrading to green, which we will do at some point. I'm going to try and not do too much outside of the episode, but things like upgrading belts is a little bit tedious. I do like getting on with things a bit more interesting. But we get green belts on up to the first layer of cogs for belts, just to make sure that's nice and provided for, and that we've got enough iron coming through for the yellow and purple science. I don't know whether to call purple science purple or blue now, because it's purple on the recipe, but it's blue for the actual science pack. So yeah, I still haven't worked out what's happened there. We do need copper wire in the logistics system for the production of the RoboPort antenna array Mark 1. That is holding up the production of any of the RoboPorts. So we get that added in as well. And it may be used in a couple of other places, probably for the medium poles. I can't quite remember, but we get that added in. Anyway, I haven't actually added the recipes for the medium and large poles, but I will get that added in at some point. The assemblers are laid out, though, next to the RoboPort production area. And I come, and for the last bit of the episode, I wanted to look at getting module production up to the final tier. Is it tier 8? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, tier 8. So we get that added in. I realise I haven't actually got any speed beacons added into this area, so that's another thing we need to get in. We also need to get in production of the module processing board. So we get in all the varieties of that added into the module bits production area. But yeah, now we have production of the tier 8 of the raw productivity. We can start going around upgrading absolutely everywhere. The logistics system will take in all the old ones and get them upgraded to the final tier. So we lay out production of the various products needed for those processing boards, one of which is the module processing board. So we add that onto the end of the area here because it has all of the various ingredients we need to produce them, and with some raw productivity and the belts upgraded, this area should all run nice and quickly. But yeah, we keep swapping and changing the upgrade planner so we can upgrade things like inserters, belts and everything. But we look at trying to shoehorn in the beacons for this area. So I decided to move over the speed modules because if you put the beacon nicely right in the middle, it covers the entirety of 2 rows. And I come and start looking at putting in production for the tier 8 raw speed modules, which should help out with that power fluctuation. But yeah, the power is reaching its final capacity, so I do need to look at sorting that out. I also need to add in some production for the green module, which are actually yellow. They're the other module from BODs. That'll help with our power usage and pollution. So yeah, need to sort out power, but definitely going to add some more solar and accumulator. But next episode, we're going to tidy up the rest of the module production area so we can get all those done, get those upgraded around the factory. And yeah, I'll guess I still need to come up with the main premise for next episode. But that's going to be all we have time for this episode. I do hope you have enjoyed. Thank you so much for watching, and please do come and join me next time. Bye-bye.